Terence Crawford just beat Canelo Alvarez. Hello, my fellow oddities. Welcome to a new video. Gotta kind of be quiet for this one. The event ended at like 2 a.m. I got neighbors, so I'm not going to be my usual jovial self yelling about or anything. And I will be staying up for the Inoue fight. So yeah, after that, I am taking a long, fat nap. But let's talk about what just transpired. Two pound-for-pound top 10 boxers in the world, two of the best resumes in the sport, two people we never thought in a million years would fight, at least under these circumstances of one person going up two weight classes to fight the other, who is undisputed at that weight class, has had multiple title defenses, and somehow Terence Crawford just won. I picked Canelo. You guys know that if you've watched the video I made previously to this. I picked Canelo to win based off of the size. I always believe I knew Crawford was the better, more skilled boxer, just based on Canelo's recent performances. But I was not expecting the size. Well, maybe the size was a factor. I don't know. Maybe you have to go rewatch the fight, but I couldn't really tell if the size was a factor or not. Okay, basically what I'm trying to say is I don't know if Terence Crawford is just that skilled that he overcame the size, or if the size just wasn't much of a factor at all anyways. But yeah, Crawford, I thought, won the fight 117-111, so that's 9 rounds to 3, which, yeah, that's a lot of rounds. That's pretty dominant throughout the whole fight. The actual scorecards were closer, 115-113 and 116-112, because it's Canelo, but Crawford handedly, clearly won that fight based on his counterpunching, based on his combinations especially. Canelo was really only throwing one, and when he did throw multiple, he would only land one. So Crawford just got the better from there, and Crawford's power honestly didn't look that bad at 168. No one's knocking out Canelo, but honestly, I think Bud hurt Canelo probably the worst he's been hurt since maybe Bivol. Even then, I'd probably even go back further. It's kind of crazy, like how a guy that's come up from 154 only had one fight at 154. Really, we should be saying he's coming up 3 weight classes here, because he only had one fight at 154, where most people think he didn't really look that good. And he's coming up, and he's affecting a guy who's at 168. He's getting the respect. That's the thing that really made me go with Canelo, is that I just didn't think Crawford could get the respect of Canelo, and I didn't think he'd be able to overcome just like all the power shots and stuff. I thought the power shots would discourage him. He didn't really get hit that much in this fight, so that really didn't end up being much of a factor. But when he did get hit, he took him well. He stood in the pocket with Canelo and wasn't really trading, because Canelo wasn't really landing much. But he was in the phone booth with him, and he was outdoing him on the inside. He outdid Canelo everywhere. Yes, there were a few rounds Canelo won, just based off of Crawford not doing much, kind of circling around, using lateral movement, not running. All right. If all you do is lateral movement, then yes, that's running. But if you're using it to up your entire skill, game plan, whatever, then that's not running. And Crawford did that very well. He had a very smart game plan. All right. When he knew he had a round one, he didn't like take unnecessary risks. When he knew he had a round one based off of like the first half, landing some decent combinations, landing a punch that kind of snaps Canelo's head back, he didn't like just overdo it. He didn't like try to keep up constant success all the time throughout the round. He would get those combinations off and then just move, pop the jab, defend against Canelo, and he would win the round based off that, because Canelo couldn't really do anything. And I honestly feel like that's how Canelo's been fighting. Obviously, it's very different because Bud's a lot more light on his feet. His speed looked very good. That's something I was concerned about. Would his speed translate going up weight classes? It did. But Canelo, in a lot of his recent fights, he's been winning via just defending everything the opponent does and then just throwing enough to win the rounds. He hasn't really been just like putting beatdowns on his opponents. And I feel like Crawford kind of flipped the switch, obviously in a different way because, like I said, combinations and quick feet, quick hands, all that stuff. But he kind of employed that same sort of game plan of just like landing when he needs to land and then just protecting himself, keeping disciplined from everything coming back at him. And so it was amazing to see Crawford just outdo Canelo like that. Obviously, I don't think it's on the level of dominance that Bivol or Mayweather showed, but it doesn't have to be considering the circumstances. This is still the greatest win in the history of boxing. I'm going to just say it. I know some people want to say Duran versus Leonard or something like that. I don't see it. I honestly don't think anything like this has ever happened where a guy who is, let's be real, a 147 pounder has one fight at 154 where he doesn't really spectacularly knock out his opponent or have a super dominant performance. He goes up 2 weight classes to fight the undisputed champion at 168, super middleweight, a weight class below light heavyweight, by the way. And that undisputed champion has so much experience at that weight class. He did not just have a belt and then just fight another guy and they're undisputed. He went through every single champion, every contender, won each belt individually, and that's how he became undisputed. And then he got stripped or vacated a belt and then won back the undisputed title, and Bud beat him. What? And that makes Terence Bud Crawford the only person in the modern 4-belt era to be undisputed champ in 3 divisions. 2 of those divisions are right next to each other, 140, 147, and then jumps all the way up to 168. That is actually insane. I don't even know how that's possible. Bro is just like gifted. He's blessed from the gods with a perfect mind and perfect body for boxing. He can gain weight and somehow become more shredded at 168. It doesn't make sense. It literally doesn't make sense. I am never going to doubt Bud Crawford again. I do honestly think he should just retire, though. What is he possibly going to do to one up this? I don't know. He can probably do it, but I just don't want him to take the risk. Listen, you're 42-0, 31 knockouts, undefeated, not a single controversial fight in your entire history. All right, every fight has been relatively not close. Like Israel Madrimov is probably the closest thing to a somewhat close fight, competitive fight for Terence Crawford. Everyone else he's knocked out or just thoroughly dominated. So yeah, I mean, you've done that. You've become undisputed multiple times in multiple weight classes, super far apart from each other. What more can you really do? Like you can become undisputed again in another weight class. You can go down to 160, become undisputed at 154. There are some cool matchups there. Try to go for 175, which would be insane. But then it's just like, okay, 3 times is cool. Now you're pushing it. All right, just 4 times, really? 4 times? Then it kind of gets old. So I don't think there's really anything he can do right now that is going to be super spectacular. He's done it all. He just beat a pound for pound guy who is way bigger than him. So that's crazy. He's pound for pound number 1, undoubtedly. He's been the best fighter for years. He's just never been able to show it until now, until the Errol Spence fight and until this fight. He hasn't been able to show just how good he is. We are in the Terence Crawford era. And yeah, I mean, Inoue is about to fight. I don't think he's going to have a performance that's gonna win him this number 1 pound for pound spot. I don't know what he could possibly do to do that, considering who he's facing and who Crawford just faced. So yeah, I mean, insane performance by Terence Crawford. I was wrong. All right, I'll take that one on the chin. Never should have doubted this man. Canelo, I honestly think Canelo should probably retire too. Not because he's like bad or anything. He looked really good in this fight. He looked better than he has in recent fights. Crawford was just better. But again, like Canelo has so many fights. He's fought literally everyone, even people that doesn't make any sense to fight, like Terence Crawford coming up 2 weight classes. What more do you really want from the guy? Like, what can he do? Like, you can have a rematch, and maybe he can beat Crawford. Doesn't really seem like he could, but I don't know, maybe he could fluke something, but I just don't. I don't really see the appeal in continuing to try and make fights for Canelo, because I don't really know what more he could do either, just like with Bud. So they both had legendary careers, both have insane resumes. Crawford was the better man on the night. He's the better boxer overall. And yeah, that's all I really have to say. I was wrong. That's the final thing I'll state. My final statement: I was wrong. All right, I'm not coping. All right, I'm happy that Bud won. Actually, I'm happy that Bud won. It's either I get my pick right or Bud wins, and Bud won. And that honestly makes me happier, but either way, I would have been somewhat happy about something. All right. That'll do it for this video, my fellow oddities. Peace.